People were farmers, blacksmiths, tailors, their own
They were.
business owners up until the Industrial Revolution,
True.
where the job became replacement for poverty.
Because keep in mind, all of those people, you know what they're describing? Their relationship to the means of production. If you're a blacksmith, you own your forging thing or whatever. I don't know anything about blacksmithing. I noticed a video from Ben Shapiro's female doppelganger, Brett Cooper, entitled "You Have to Work Sorry." And you know, again, I'm really curious to see how this is going to end up, because keep in mind, if you're on the younger side of things, again, I'm 31, I'm fairly young. I'm in that, in that the younger voter demographic, I believe, or maybe I don't know. Am I still in the younger voter demographic? Usually it's like 18 to 35. Yeah. I'm in the 18 to 35 voter range. That's young voters. And like a lot of most voters, I tend to find that the 40-hour work week, or at the very least the 8-hour work week, 8 hours a day, 5-day work week, is fucking rough, man. It is rough on the body. That's, what is that, 10 commutes a day? Or not 10 commutes a day, 10 commutes a week. You're there for 8 hours, usually, depending on what you're working in. It can be quite grueling on the body. And, I don't really see a lot of alternative or a lot of talk from the right side of things of how we kind of fix this. Personally, me, I think a 4-day work week, I think it's time to embrace the 4-day work week, and not, by the way, the 4 10-hour work week. I'm talking about the 4 8-hour work week. I think that Americans, our GDP, our productivity has earned us an extra day of the weekend. But others don't really seem to feel that way. Funnily enough, Brett Cooper, somebody who, let's be honest here, probably isn't, I don't know how often she's worked in hard labor in a kitchen or elsewhere. I'm just not sure how much experience she has in the real world of real working. Not that being a host of a podcast, this is what I do as a little side gig. But, when you got the backing of private millionaire, billionaire donors, it certainly makes the process a little bit easier. Willing to buy you YouTube subscribers, buy you Twitch followers. But either way, all of that being said, let's take a look. Do you all need to get back to the mines? Do the youth yearn for the mines? Let's find out.
Back to the comments section. I'm Brett Cooper. It is no surprise to anybody that Gen Z struggles with a lot of things. I've made a lot of episodes about that, but there is something new that they are struggling with, but it actually isn't new. It's new to them, but it's not new to the world. Gen Z is upset with the concept that they might have to work a 9-to-5 job for the rest of their life. And again, like I said,
I want every young person to think about this. In your mind, that what you have to look forward in your future is showing up somewhere 5 days a week for 8 hours and trudging your way through work. That is what you have to look forward to. And Brett Cooper goes, you fucking get in line. Shut the fuck up. Get in line. I don't do that. I'm Brett Cooper. I work in a nice plush studio that somebody put a bunch of bullshit behind me, gave me a really nice microphone. Also, for whatever reason, I have a streamer set up, but I have camera cuts. Okay, whatever. Somebody who lives and works, let's be honest, in a very cushy environment, telling all the rest of you poors and your actual real laborers, get the fuck over it, stop whining, get back in line, get back to work.
This is nothing new. The 9-to-5 office job has
this
been
girl
the
does
butt of jokes
not
for years.
have
And the question of today is,
a dress
will
code.
Gen
Keep in
Z
mind.
finally crack the code? Before we get into it, though, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the
Oh,
channel,
don't do any of those
already.
things.
Ring that notification bell. So
Don't do any of those things. Do all those things here on this channel.
So this is the type of content that I see on TikTok all the time. They literally think that it is the absolute worst thing in the world.
So we're talking about the job and like your qualification, expectations for the job, what are you looking for, basic. We get to the very end and he's like, yeah, so I do just want to let you know this is 5 days a week in the office and you need to be making sure that you're still checking your emails once you get home and just like following up with people. And
So let's be clear, that's unpaid labor. That's called wage theft, by the way.
also, you do need to be in the office one day over the weekend, so Saturday or Sunday. No. I literally just go. Yeah, so I'm feeling like with the salary
Fucking
and
cook.
not really.
I would really love to know what the salary is, because I've had these kinds of interviews, and you know what the salary is? Unimpressive. Utterly unimpressive. You gotta do all this unpaid labor and overtime, unregistered labor. You gotta sacrifice a weekend day, if you're working like something that's more of like during the week, what's the word I'm looking for? In kind of office settings, and usually working Monday through Friday. Now it's like, oh, no. We need a Saturday or a Sunday from you, because, there's business that has to be conducted on Saturdays and Sundays, even though Saturdays, at least for most office workers, is like the one day where they're like, oh, thank God I'm finally off, but, at the end of the day, it's like, nope, fuck you guys. Fuck all of you. You all get back to the goddamn mines.
Having any like work-life balance, being that it is a 6-day work week and still having to
God, it's a 6-day? Oh,
do my job when I get home. It's just not aligned, but I really hope that that you find what you're looking for.
Now, okay, when I first watched the video,
and by the way, something I was thinking about and then didn't say because I got distracted. What happened to free markets, man? Do you notice that this whole thing is like you need to acclimate to the schedule that your owners demand of you. And maybe it's just me. Maybe it is just me. But I thought we lived in a free market. I thought we lived in an economic system of supply and demand. I thought we lived in a place where we had free association of business. I thought that we lived in a place where, you don't have to take the job. If you know what? If your job is not offering you the wage, the benefits, the schedule, the whatever, you shouldn't have to work there. Isn't that what I hear all the time from conservatives? Oh, well, a predatory workplace. No, there's no such thing. You're voluntary. You're showing up to work every day. It's voluntary. Wait a minute. If it's voluntary, do I not have the right to negotiate for my work-life balance? I thought it was voluntary, but no. Let's be honest here. That's a fake argument that they use. They don't give a shit about voluntary employment. They don't give a shit about your work-life balance. They want you to, again, shut the fuck up and get in line. They want you to get back to the mines, get back in your office, get in your boring chair, answer the calls, make us money. That's the entire goal. That is the entire goal of all of this. No mind that people are more miserable, more atomized, have less time to themselves, have less connections with each other. Never mind all of those things. Never mind all of the endless social repercussions to the way that we've organized the workplace in the United States over the last 20 to 30 years. Never mind all of that. Forget all of that. You should be quiet and get in line. It's a you problem. It's a skill issue. It's your fault that you're not capable, or more likely you don't want the benefits, the schedule, the compensation, the everything that these companies are offering. Maybe, just maybe, these companies should offer better schedules, offer better compensation, offer better benefits. Maybe the relationship of worker to employee is broken. And you want to know why it's broken? Come back to it. Well, we mentioned a little bit earlier. It's broken because prices keep going up, wages keep staying stagnant, and people are becoming more and more desperate and willing to take jobs that they are not interested in engaging with.
Like halfway through, I was thinking this girl is ridiculous. Like, that's a normal job. You have to work 5 days a week. That's crazy. Having to go in for a 6th day, that's a bit much. But also, people work over the weekend. People work when they get home from work. If you have
again, that's called wage theft.
That is what you are required to do. And
by the way, if you're not paid a salary, let me be incredibly clear to anybody out here. If you are not paid a salary, if you are paid per the hour, you have a clock in and a clock out, you don't do shit at home. Let's be clear. The minute you boot up work from home and you're paid by the hour, No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Stop it. That is them stealing your time. That is them stealing your time. So no. Do not participate in that. That is wage theft.
Shows, you can choose not to do that.
Surely you can't be serious.
You are not forced to have any of these jobs.
Why do they never play okay, can I ask this? Why do they never play clips of something modern? Like, that's how you know that this channel is AstroTurf. Because this girl is like 20. Why is every reference like 40 to 30 years old? Fucking Airplane? You guys, the editors, you guys couldn't find a more up-to-date reference? Maybe something she's seen before? Not to say that she hasn't seen Airplane, wonderful movie, but really? Like, I remember watching other videos of hers or seeing them, and like every reference is from an 80s movie or early 90s movie. There's like no reference from a modern, from the modern era. That's how you know that this show isn't actually made, and you know, Brett Cooper and her whole thing isn't actually for Gen Z or younger people. It's most of the viewership is coming from older boomers, older Gen Xers who want their views on Gen Z validated by somebody from that generation.
You can move on from it, so it's really not a big deal. But anyway, like I'm saying, this content is all over TikTok. And then on the complete other side of TikTok, there are people who have totally abandoned the, 9-to-5 work.
Oh yeah, keep in mind, I know I'm stopping a lot. I'm sorry. What do you want? I have to transform the content in a unique way. These are the YouTube rules. I'm sorry. But also keep in mind, before we had that 40-hour work week, do you know what we had? We had like the 50 to 60-hour work week. And you know what the old people said to them as well? You know what the older generation said? Look at you. Look at you. You want 40 hours? You want an 8-hour day? Puh. Grow up. Get used to it. Get back to work. That's what they said to their youth. And that's the only message that she's delivering to the few young people that actually tune into her show.
Day, and they're living out of vans, and they're traveling the world, and they seem like they have this endless supply of money. You have no idea how they make money. They're just, floating around telling everybody, like, this is the life that you need to live. Get rid of your jobs. Just do this. So obviously, people are getting very
van life.
Messages.
They have started to realize there is more to discover. More
Wait.
adventures to
Stop playing music. You're gonna get me in trouble, god damn it. Now I have to check to make sure YouTube isn't mad at me. I'm also not joking. YouTube will the worst thing, the absolute worst thing, at least in my experience, is how just immediate YouTube is in terms of its in terms of their their, what's the word I'm looking for? They're like, oh, you played copyrighted music.
more to life than mindless working that only benefits rich white men.
Okay, we're just gonna mute it for now. Whoa, oh my god, a bunch of people who, let's be honest, probably have money or saved up a bunch of money.
White men. Like, the only reason you would have a 9-to-5 is to benefit rich white men. Race did not need to be brought into that. Somebody commented and said,
Well, who primarily owns corporations and owns a lot of capital in this country? Oh, right, rich white dudes. Gotcha.
how
Old
the
rich
hell
white
do you
dudes,
afford
by the way.
anything? I'd love to travel the world, which is usually what happens in those comment sections. That's a great question, but it is not just Gen Z that is expressing this.
Also, that's
I
not
see these
new. People have been
posts on
doing
LinkedIn
that
all the
since
time,
the
people going, "We have
70s.
to prep for Gen Z,
Like-
they don't want to work the
Like that's not a new phenomenon. That was literally the entire 70s and the hippie movement. What are we talking about? Like, that's all that was. Like,
these jobs. What are we going to do? The parents are concerned. I saw this podcast clip from a mom.
The younger generation, like maybe people who are 17, 18, 19 now, they have a very different view on working and burnout and
Yep.
life and productivity. And
I don't know, maybe the professional world should acclimate to that. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they should change the way maybe they should shift their business structure to a way that would, I don't know, attract more candidates of that generation. Like, what I find annoying about this is as if this is somehow a youth problem, or no, this is your guys' problem. No. Businesses, it is their responsibility to attract eligible recruits for their employment. At the end of the day, they need to hire people. And if they're not willing to do the things to attract more hires, then fuck them. Guess what? You're not doing your part. You're running a business. You need to hire people. If you're not willing to pay a better wage, fuck yourself. Your business can go out of business. If you're not willing to offer decent benefits, fuck yourself. Your business should go out of business. Quite frankly, that's the free market, baby. That's how it's supposed to be. You can't hire people because you don't offer anybody anything other than a shit wage and a bad schedule. Fuck yourself then.
Economics than we do. I work so many hours, but my 12-year-old, she's like, what? Like I never want to work. Like no, but they have this real
shit.
like I deserve to live like a good life without work.
I do think it's interesting though that this woman is talking about her 12-year-old daughter who is scoffing at the fact that her mom works, and we're taking that as like fact. Get your
wait. Her kid is scoffing at the idea that you'd have to work that hard, that you'd have to work, because the experience of a lot of parents is grinding their fucking bone, like hands down to the bone, keeping everything afloat in the family. Because again, the system is predatory, and it makes sure that people who are poor, people who are actually working, people who are creating value in this goddamn country don't see the benefits. This is just a consequence of income inequality.
12-year-old daughter. She doesn't want to work because she's 12 years old. She wants to live life because she is 12 years old. She doesn't have responsibilities yet. And as her mother,
imagine a 12-year-old doesn't want to work. Brett Cooper's the first person to send the youth back to the mines. Get back into the factories. Go get your hands fucking cut off.
You should not be excusing this, and you should actually be encouraging her to work hard and show her that you actually do have to make a living some way or other. The point still stands. People are realizing that things
make a living by creating value for an owner.
The generation above us, maybe, or maybe 2 generations above us, would have been like, no, yes, you are.
Yeah.
But we're all like, nah, yes, sweet, don't work a 9 to 5. It sucks.
So obviously the parents
no shit, because it does.
No, you don't need to go work a 9 to 5. You don't need to have the traditional route. Make your own path. And of course, that's totally fine.
Brett Cooper is 20. Has she ever worked a 9 to 5? No, really. I'm really wondering. Like, now, thinking about it now, I'm like, have you ever worked a day in your fucking life? Like a real work day as an adult. Again, this person is barely out of high school. And they're coming and talking about like, oh yeah, you know, if you just worked hard at the office job, like, how much are you paid to get put together an AstroTurf show? Like, quite a lot. Easily more than me, even though I put food in the mouths of people, god damn it. Like,
if you don't want to do that.
I'm leaving.
Okay, then.
Stop.
That was always allowed.
And historically, this is the attitude that a lot of people have had, and you know,
at least it's modern. I got what I wanted.
And they realize that they actually do have to have a normal job, and they actually have to make money to survive, and one has to, you know, work and maybe do something they don't like in order to make that money. Which enters, of course, the age-old dilemma of I can't believe I have to work for the rest of my life. I don't want this 9 to 5. And right now, we're hitting that point with Gen Z. Also, keep in mind that a lot of people are working for a lot longer now. People are not retiring like my mom can she's retired, but she has to have a side job if she wants to be able to afford everything and be able to like eat out once a month or something like that. Like, we are not allowing people also to actually retire and enjoy retirement because we haven't funded Social Security well enough. We haven't made sure that you know, people are actually making it to Social Security the way they should have. Like, it's just all of the systems point toward people just toiling away for the rest of their life and not being like, I don't know how you can be satisfied with that. How could you be satisfied with the idea of toiling away at an office or toiling away in a kitchen or toiling away in a construction yard or toiling away doing anything else? How are you, like, how do you look at that and you go, oh yeah, that's the life I want to live. I want to spend my life making money for some owner, making, you know, never really, you know, just kind of grinding it out. And then I'm going to die at like 71, only like a couple years into my retirement, out of fucking boredom. Like, that's what people have to look forward to right now. I saw this article, and this is what sparked me wanting to do this episode. Gen Zers in their first internship can't fathom working for the rest of their life. I'm just supposed to do this forever because I need money? Yes. I don't know what else to tell you. Yes, the article was
Yeah,
referring
God forbid
to
you
this
challenge
tweet,
the
which has
system
gone
at
viral. It
hand.
was originally in subreddit Late Stage Capitalism. The post has now been deleted, but of course it's the internet, so the post is lasting
Well,
forever.
yeah,
This person
yeah.
said, any other Gen Z workers finding it impossible to fathom the rest of our lives
Don't worry, that's just the job before the job. It gets worse. Absolutely.
like this. I'm in the midst of my first internship, and I cannot believe the generation after
Oh, by the way, internships bullshit.
generation has been doing this bullshit work and is fine with it. I sat sobbing at my laptop today trying to write some blog post about federal funding that was assigned to me today. Well, obviously you'd be crying. It's about federal funding. That's like the most miserable subject ever. Nobody wants to talk about that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Anyway, doing the most boring shit of all time that drains me of all my
And again, keep in mind, this is coming from somebody who gets an AstroTurf show made for them so that they can distribute, pretty old style conservative politics. And, again, lives a, let's be honest, pretty cushy lifestyle.
energy and has zapped my passion for writing. And I'm just supposed to do this forever with a smile on my face.
Yep,
'cause I need
just
money.
yep,
Each
yep,
and
just
every
keep
person who
money.
made
Yep,
this
just
system
keep
and keeps
keep
it
keep
upright
making
and
it
acts like
money.
they're happy about it too. I'm also a full-time waitress at 2 restaurants, and I want to be an artist and a writer, but nothing that fills my cup or makes me happy will ever pay the bills. I feel so pissed off at the world
And
right
isn't
now,
that the
and
problem
even
now,
though
isn't
I
it?
know that not every day will feel this bad, I also can't help but fear that it's only ever going to get worse as I have to pay for more things to survive, and this bullshit job will be all I can rely on. I hate it here. And this whole thing, like, I understand
It's literally, by the way, for anybody who's younger, it's literally the sunk cost fallacy, except it's more like the sunk cost dilemma. Because the farther you get into it all, like I've said this to a couple people throughout time in general, life or whatever. But if you have a hobby, if you have something that you would like to do, that you actually want to do for the rest of your life, do a little bit of it and do as much as you can, like in your spare time. Do as much of it. You don't have to, you don't have to like take up all the rest of your hours doing it. But like, find an alternative, because at some point you are going to want to get off of this train. You are going to want to get off of the, I've been doing the exact same thing for the last 3-4 years. I want off. And the best thing you can do is set yourself up by practicing and honing those hobbies, those like skills, whatever it is that you want to do. If you just want to be knitting, whatever, do that. Sell shit on Etsy. But like something like that, something that like you like doing, fucking take that as like, as like a side thing, as a side interest, and just water it a little bit. Make it so that like, if you ever decide, fuck this, I'm out, that you have something that you can go, all right, I don't need to jump immediately into the next shitty job position. Why don't I do this for a little bit? See how that pays off. Even if it's something small, like, even if you have to get a side thing, treat that like miserable employment as a side job and try to shift your focus onto your hobby. It's going to be very transitory and it's not going to be immediate all the time. Sometimes it is, but often it isn't. But do that so you have something of your own that you can actually invest your time and happiness into. And one day maybe make that the thing that you, as they said, I want to do my hobbies, but it won't ever make me a dime. It won't for a really long time, probably. But if you are working during those first couple of years of you practicing it and then maybe when you get out, you're making a few dollars. You take a bit of a pay cut. But then once you can make the exact amount of money as you would, then you're good. But again, it's just water your hobbies.
I understand that you had a bad day, and I understand that it's not fun, and not everybody's job is perfect and fun. All jobs have downsides, but the system...
You come up with that yourself?
The system of having to work your upset at the system, like, buddy, you're gonna have to go way back to deal with that system, the person who created that system.
Also, by the way, the system of work that they're talking about is under authoritarian capitalism.
Because for all of time, man has been working. Your job is different than, the jobs of 3 generations ago, but we were still working. That is not something new. That is not something that is happening to you that we all as a society.
Wait, is she describing the concept of exertion of energy?
We're just supposed to accept this. Like, people were farmers, blacksmiths, tailors, their
They
own
were.
business owners up until the Industrial Revolution,
True.
where the job became replacement for poverty. But instead of helping break the chains of misery and being poor, jobs have been and are still a staple of give life to me so I can be super rich while you're pressing for more hours away from your life, your family, and your passions. All the while
Because keep in mind, all of those people, you know what they're describing? Their relationship to the means of production. If you're a blacksmith, you own your forging thing or whatever. I don't know anything about blacksmithing, but you own that. That is yours. If you're a tailor, you own all that shit. You are like you're like this is what we mean when us leftists talk about the relationship to the means of production. We moved from local economies to large industrial ones where one guy owned the factory. He employed like 200 people or something. And for each one of those people working, they create a number of value. They create $100 a day, each one of them, of value. And what that owner does is take their value and decide where it goes and how it's implemented. Some of it goes back into the business. Some of it goes into their pocket. And some of it goes to wages. And what we've seen over the last, probably 100 years or so, what we've seen since the adoption of the system is that as time goes on, owners have decided, well, what if I gave you I paid you a flat rate for an hour worth of work. Sometimes you create more value for me. Sometimes you create less. Let's be honest. Oftentimes it's more. And now we have a system where people create a ton of value and see a smaller and smaller percentage of the work that they actually do. The value that they actually create, they see a smaller and smaller percentage. Meanwhile, the people who are owning the companies, the people who owns the factory, who owns the machine, all of these things, their percentage of that value goes up and up and up and up and up and up and up. That's why you see CEO pay go up and up and up and up. And you see regular worker pay go down, 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 down. It's rather simple. We made this decision through our inaction to break up large companies, our inaction to trust bust, and our disinterest, and quite frankly, in the United States, our, what's the word I'm looking for? Our hysteria over communism and socialism.
Corporate shills who think that hard work all your life is the way and make everyone who feels otherwise feel less than themselves. It's a loop of I'm miserable, so let's make you miserable while somebody's rich off of our miseries. And I guarantee somebody with less than 2 brain cells is going to completely miss my point and unironically go, just work harder, bro. It's funny to me that this person
She's
is
about to
talking
make
about,
that
blacksmiths
exact
and
argument,
tailors,
yep.
because I guarantee that people like this would turn their noses up at modern Americans working those blue-collar jobs. But that
Wow, way to just like make up an argument and argue against it. This is what we would in the professional world call a straw man. Because keep in mind, what they're talking about, if you're a tailor or a blacksmith, those are, while they are like laborious, they're also creative works and could be looked at as creative works. If you're a tailor, you're like, you're tailoring clothes. Some of that involves quite a bit of creativity. So yeah, what are we even talking about? This is, by the way, unsubstantiated. There is no poll of Americans who like think electricians are, I don't know, fucking idiots or something. There's nothing to this. She just says this and we're supposed to take it at face value.
That's what you're talking about. And I would guess that the people working modern day blue collar jobs have
I'm
a
glad
greater
she
love
said
and
I
greater
guess.
enjoyment for what they're doing, working with their hands, than you sitting and typing on your laptop. But we have been conditioned to think that these jobs are the most important and that they are the only way that you can find fulfillment and offer anything productive to the world. Somebody else commented, okay, smart guy, what do you profess people do instead? I love this comment that this person made. And
well, break down the system. Revolution. A proletarian revolution. Or just, a populist move in our politics. That would also be nice. Most people understand that this system grinds people down and it fucking sucks. And the goal would be to get politicians, elect them, to actually enact the changes that we want to see. Unfortunately, there's a lot of barriers to that. The people who own the capital, the people who run those companies who are underpaying people, also spend a lot of their excess money on campaign donations. And with those campaign donations, they make it so that politicians just aren't really that interested in passing something like, I don't know, a minimum wage increase. I don't know, implementing a universal healthcare system that would tax the rich to pay for it. And unfortunately, there's not just one answer to a lot of these things. And it's usually not just one issue that stops us from making this kind of progress. It's a confluence of issues. I don't know how often I say it, but I probably need to say it more. Our problems in this country are not because of one group or not because of one thing. It's a confluence of issues and a confluence of motivating factors.
He said, which would you rather do? Farm 12 to 18 hours a day, 6 to 7 days a week. Can you imagine Gen Z doing that? Or write an entry?
Well, actually, yeah, if they own the farm, why wouldn't I want to do that? It's mine. I'm literally producing everything for myself. And like everything else, I would sell out to excess to help pay for the farm. Like what? Like, again, this is the idea that like, oh, people don't like hard work. No. People don't like meaningless work.
On a blog. That is the era you're referring to. And that work never guaranteed safety or security. And they were still poor. And before that, everyone was subject to a king or a ruler of some kind. I mean, we all know this, but Gen Z is griping and complaining. We're all complaining about modern society, but we have it so much better than the generations before us. And we often forget that because we're so caught up in trying to be a...
She does know that that's literally the case with every generation. Well, almost, actually. Almost every generation has seen an increase to their standard of living. Except millennials and Gen Z. They actually will be the first generation in quite a long time to have a lower standard of living than their parents. It's not because they're less intelligent. It's not because they're less hardworking. It's simply for the fact that we set up the system so that it's not really amenable to millennials or Gen Z. I don't know what to tell you. Also Gen X a bit, but they can go fuck themselves a little bit. I'm kind of tired of Gen X right now. But no, that's the actual reason. People can't afford housing, not because they're not working hard, because housing becomes so unaffordable.
Oppressed and trying to be victims 24/7 rather than being grateful for the security and the freedom that we do.
Yeah, be grateful for that job that makes you miserable.
Days where nobody had to
be
work,
grateful for the job that makes you want to jump out of fucking
and for most of human history,
fucking
a
window.
large majority of the work was manual labor. And it's ironic now how so much work can be done without leaving your chair, and people are complaining.
Sometimes
Oh, keep it, motherfucker! God damn it! Stop playing fucking clips. Also keep in mind the whole idea of like, oh, it used to all be manual labor. Yeah, it used to all be meaningful manual labor. Now what do? People sit in offices and just fucking type nonsense into a fucking computer. A lot of people just pretend to work. A lot of jobs that we have right now are all clerical bullshit. Like none of it, people don't see purpose in their work anymore. If I raise a cow so it can give me milk and meat possibly in the future, that's like harder, but is it more fulfilling? Abso-fucking-lutely. Absolutely. Talk to any young person. They don't have a problem with working hard. They're all like, most of them are fine with working hard on stuff like, you know, their stage performances, any of that sort of stuff. What they don't like is meaningless work. And a lot of the work these days is fucking meaningless.
Partially, I get it because humans were not designed to work behind screens all day long. So if you have a job like that, number one, it is your choice to have that kind of job, and it is still your responsibility to get outside.
By the way, your choice where your other option is starve and die.
One person in that same comment thread said, if you find a job you love, you'll never work a day in your life, though. And then responded and said, sorry, everybody, I was being sarcastic. That statement is what the man tells us to make us keep working. There can't be a job you love because forced labor isn't fun or something that humans love to do.
Oh, by the way, okay, so this person's only like half correct. I do actually think that if you do work that you love, you don't work a day in your life. I really do believe in that. I just don't think that we're offered any of those options. You do not have that many options where, you know, the thing that you love doing is your actual job. It is the thing that like capitalists say to motivate you to work harder, and it's like bullshit, but it's not bullshit because it's not true. It's just not true in our system.
Sorry for the confusion, y'all. Everyone's
also, this person has
so apparently, according to
24
this logic, you will never
likes.
enjoy a
Are
job
we really
if you are working for somebody else. I know many people who would disagree, including myself. That's just ridiculous logic. However, I do want to indulge that for a second. Let's go down that path. Because if you really feel that way, you do have another option. And Gen Z seems to be leaning into that. Here's an article about that. Hustle culture isn't dead. It just got a Gen Z rebrand. People want time to live their lives. And they said the oldest members of Gen Z are just a few years into being part of the workforce, and they are already being stereotyped as lazy. So far, they have been billed as entitled, quiet quitters, hell-bent on upending the traditional workplace norms by sharing salary numbers or redefining business casual or outright.
Oh, yeah. You know why they hate sharing salary numbers? Because they don't want... So I've had this conversation at my workplace, and I've had this conversation with a lot of other people. The reason why companies tell you that they don't want you all sharing wages is because they don't want you to understand, or better yet, they don't want you to come to the realization that your pay is arbitrary. Whatever you're getting paid is what a hiring manager, somebody hired to find out this number, what the lowest possible number is to get you to do the maximum amount of work. That, my friends, is what your wage is. Whatever your wage is the least that they could give you to get the most out of you. And most people were told before, oh, you shouldn't share that kind of information because it sows discord, which it does. When you find out that Jerry over there, who sits on his ass all the time, or or Philip over there, who's a hard worker, somehow make different wages from you, who are, a perfectly fine normal worker. You come to realize, whoa, how does Jerry, who I think is a worse worker, make more than Philip over there, who I think is a better worker? And so on and so forth. You come to realize, wait, we're all just making some arbitrary number that isn't at all tied. This isn't meritocratic, as I've been always told. And then it falls apart. Then people... Then people go like, well, this is bullshit. I'm not doing this unless I'm getting paid as much as the guy who I think I'm doing as much work as, and so on and so forth. And the end goal of this is your boss is going to have to pay you a bit more. Everybody's going to have to pay a bit more. And that's what they don't want. I don't know what redefining business casual is, or the idea of contributing to capitalist systems. Yeah, good. Younger kids, if you don't like capitalism, I don't think it should be a system you should be forced into, although these people certainly do, but I certainly don't.
Right, rejecting the idea of contributing to capitalist systems. Of course, sounds lovely. As it turns out, Gen Z
what happens when you
as
understand
anxious
what
and even
capitalism
more
is?
Anxious as the overworked millennials before them, but they are redefining what success looks like at home and in life. Hustle culture isn't dead; it's just getting a Gen Z rebrand. So Gen Z, in a way,
yeah, my generation came up with
hustle
culture where it was work a whole bunch, don't complain, and
because they don't want to work for anybody else. They want to be working on their own projects. They
about
want
the
to
same
find
place
something
most
that they
people
love, that
are
they're
at.
passionate about. They know that they do have to work, even though they don't like it. So they're going home and working on other things that fill their cup. Gen Z has their normal job. They have the job that pays the bills, and then they're going home to work on a side hustle that they actually really enjoy. And I don't think that that's a bad thing at all.
That's a good thing.
Now, if you're like Gen Z and you have a side
Was that
hustle,
Bernard?
then you need
I have no idea.
Stamps.com. Now, the holiday...
Oh my God, Jesus. Oh, by the way, this is what we call her. This is her hard work, by the way. This is the equivalent for her of when you're really trudging it out, when you're on your laptop, when you're on your work computer and you're thinking, my God, I have to do this for the rest of my life. Oh my God, this is miserable. This is her version of that, where she has to read a 30-second ad read. So
.com/Cooper. And because of how efficient and affordable this is, you're going to be saving time and money so that you can actually focus on these side projects like Gen Z does, the side hustle. The article goes on and says, young people say that passion projects provide what day jobs can't. Many Gen Zers don't see achieving their dream careers by climbing the corporate ladder. They'd rather
why? Okay, I know I'm stopping. Why does she have headphones? You're not connected to a computer.
build their dream careers themselves. Walters estimates that 1 in 5
I mean, maybe,
of her
but,
peers
like,
is trying to launch their own
you
business.
guys have
Sign that
professional
hustle culture is evolving
mics
from
and-
her point
and
of view. Hustling isn't so much about killing yourself at your 9 to 5, she says, but pursuing passion products that provide what day jobs may not. Creative fulfillment and sometimes extra money to pay the bills. As your own boss, Walter says, you're pouring into yourself and you're investing in yourself. And this kind of makes me laugh because this is not some new revolutionary idea. Gen Z did not just discover being an entrepreneur. Gen Z did not discover having hobbies and having interests out of your 9 to 5 job. And maybe this is something that every generation just has to.
Well, no, the difference is Gen Z. So the big difference is entrepreneurial ventures for other generations have always been like, oh, I want to make money on the side. Like what for entrepreneurial people like 10 or 20 years ago. It was like, oh yeah, I got my real estate license on the side, and I like do a couple listings every year, and that pulls me in a couple extra $1,000. Like, what these kids are doing is actual, like, all right, I need to have an alternative for my future, or I'm gonna be stuck doing what I'm doing now. Most entrepreneurial, like entrepreneurs back in the 90s and 2000s, were not like, a lot of that was icing. A lot of that was extra. A lot of that was, oh, I just want some extra money. This is like, no, this is my fucking parachute to get out of this system.
To come to, but it's funny that we are discussing it at this high of a level, and the Gen Z is claiming that this is some amazing rebrand and that they've, like, cracked the code. It's like, no, everybody has had hobbies and passions outside of their 9 to 5. But it is positive, and it is cool that Gen Z is finding a way for those hobbies to help pay them a little more. And of course, like I said, people have had hobbies outside of work forever. They have started small businesses in their garages after getting home from their 9 to 5s, and Gen Z just had to realize that that was possible and had to take responsibility for... That's
less common now. No, like, wait, like, that's not... Wait a minute. I'm really curious. Let's see. Rate of startups over time? Oh, geez. That's off the bat. Wait, where was that graph? Off the bat, that's not a fun stat. That's not a fun stat. Let's see. 107 startup statistics for 2023. I want startup failure rate. Yep. What is the startup rate? Yeah, like, I want to, like, really revenue. I'm sorry, but I don't see that many people getting to do that anymore. Like, your ability, last 30 years? No, I don't want that. What percentage of business startups are still in business after 15 years? Approximately 20%. Startup failure. I know that. According to latest data, up to 90% of startups fail. Jesus. Like, do you think this rate do you think this is how it was, 20 years ago? 90% startup failure rate? Come on. 34% startup failures are due to poor product market fit. 22% failed business didn't implement the correct marketing strategies. Like, yeah. I'm sorry, but that's just not
for their life and their
it's just
happiness,
not a thing that it
rather
was
than
10
just
years
blaming
ago.
it on the man or the system. And I think they're finally realizing that that gets them nowhere and that will just make them miserable. And honestly, if Gen Z...
Yeah, don't recognize the inherent inconsistencies of the system in terms of delivering value for everybody. Yeah, ignore that there's systemic problems that are super huge and require quite a lot of effort to break. No, you should just figure out whatever it is gets you through the process. Don't ever change the world. That's the message here.
Can actually get it together and succeed in these endeavors, this should be seen as a win. Because the corporate ladder mentality is real and it is exhausting to many. And if that's not for you, that is totally fine. You do not have to fit yourself into that box.
It's too bad there's not really that many
what
options
the boomers
to
did and
opt
just
out
keeping
of
their
that.
head down in the 9 to 5s, Gen Zers are actually building their passions into real business projects, and this should be encouraging and empowering to everybody. And it's more possible than ever. And for all the bad things that I say about the internet and about social media, there has never been a better time to have a side hustle like this and to
I was
build
worried
your
we were
passion
going to get
projects
another
through the
ad
internet.
read.
And that's a good thing.
Oh, by the way, keep in mind, doing it all through the internet, again, at the end of the day, if you're selling stuff on Etsy, anything like that, keep in mind that's really just another layer that the largest corporations can bilk money off of you. Talk to anybody on Etsy, they take their cut. Anybody who sells on eBay, they take their cut. There's a reason why, again, moving towards the internet, the way that the internet has been privatized, there's a reason why that's the popular venue that people get pushed in the direction of. It's just the one that's controlled heavily by people like, you have like your Amazon. Amazon runs the web services. They make, I think that's like one of the, if not the largest part of their business is their web services. And, there's a reason for that. They own a lot of those pipelines. You can start whatever website you'd like. They'll let you do whatever because they get their little cut. And that's the reason why the internet has become a place where you do see some of that small business, community growing a bit. But I do think it's really dwarfed by the fact that we don't have them in real life. Small businesses just are getting run out by a lot of these big corpos. And people are finding less and less opportunity to not buy in and create value for those corporations and instead, do it for themselves or their communities. But, the thing that they tell, like at the end of all YouTube videos where they tell you to like click on one of these like things to watch more videos. Yeah, I've been meaning to film one of those. So that's what I was doing. I was just setting it up to film one.